1, 2.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thanks all for coming through. So today we get to the most exciting part of the Global Game Jam. My name is Douglas, your host for the Global Game Jam Kenya. We also have the support of Liquid Telecom, our sponsor for this year. So I'd like to welcome you all today. It's been a great Global Game Jam in the past 3 days. The 5th edition of Global Game Jam in Kenya, obviously the first one after the pandemic. So welcome all again. So as we get started, the theme for this year was duality, and from what has happened, most of you have really built exciting games. So looking forward to seeing what you guys will have prepared for us. So I'd like to introduce our judges. So we have Ben Roberts from Liquid Telecom, Max Musau from GWE, and Dennis Mbudia from ADMI. So I'd like to invite Ben as the sponsor to say a few remarks, and then we'll get started.
Thank you, Douglas. Is this working? So I'm very happy to be sponsoring, I think it's the 4th Game Jam? 5th? Wow, okay. So it's the 5th Game Jam we sponsored in Kenya, and we are also sponsoring in Zambia as well. So we like to try and just help out with Game Jam events once a year for as many countries as we possibly can and where we are. So this year we've just been providing the food and refreshments and the venue here. So I'm really excited to be back. Last year was online and it wasn't quite the same. So it's nice to see people back. And very, very excited. And I'm also very excited to see we have a younger member of the teams today, and I think he's 8 years old. So that's very exciting. As I was saying, what's your name, young man?
My name is Nathan Kwe.
Nathan Kwe. Well, great to see you here. My youngest boy is also 8, and he's also making video games. So I'm very excited to see that you've made it here today. So thank you for coming. Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to see some great things. I will stop talking, and we can get on with the judging. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ben. Hands again for Ware, small Ware. So to get us started, we have 4 exciting teams. So I'll call up the first team. Dari or Babad? Oh, sorry. So to get started, we have the first virtual team from Mombasa. So
Is a form of duality.
My name is Gideon No. I'm the writer of the game Dual Spell, and the contents of the game are about a knight and a ninja. The knight is the good person in the game, we might say, and the ninja is the evil one. So the knight goes to the tomb of Cleopatra, where he's supposed to obtain the contents of the tomb and bring it back to the kingdom. And the ninja too, who is part of an organization which is involved in killing people, is sent to the tomb to retrieve the contents of the tomb. The person who lays in the tomb is the Queen Cleopatra, and due to her powers, which are known to be really powerful, I guess, the two awaken her because they fight in the room where she lays, and because of that the queen casts a spell on them, and they're trapped in a world where they have to work together. Even though they are conflicting, their ideas and personalities are conflicting, they have to work together to escape from the place where they know they should not be. Yes, that's about it, about the game.
Yeah, so that's for Mombasa. A hand clap for them. Yeah, so for judges, they are showcased. They're not on the judging score. Yeah. Cool. So I will invite the first team, Team 6.
Okay, sounds.
Like the game itself is like 23 hours.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Good evening and happy Nairobi Game Jam Day. Yay! So this is Team 6 and I'm delighted to introduce our team. The name of our game is The Wall. And our team members, we have Kwe Ware, who was handling our UI UX. Kwe, you can raise your hand, they can see you. Oh, yeah, Kwe, yes. And then we have Larry Ware, who's actually the accompanying adult. As per the rules of the Global Game Jam, you're required to be accompanied. And Larry has been our lead programmer. Thank you, Larry. And then from there, we have our animator and designer, and that is Wendy Kiunguyu. And Wendy is a representation of what our game is about, because it's actually about a matriarch. So she's one of the ones representing the gender. Character development, Andrew Atiani. Yes, character development and sound. Thank you very much. Then we have gameplay and level designer, Bharat. Thank you for being part of the team, Bharat Tavares. I'm the project team leader. My name is Wangari Kabiru, and I'm delighted to invite Bharat and also to invite Larry and Kwe to be able to present our game. Asante sana.
All right, thank you so much. So we looked at the concept of duality and we asked ourselves, how difficult can we make this job for ourselves? And we said, what if we had a world whereby, obviously duality is two sides, two opposite sides. And we decided we want to do a platformer and a puzzler, just interesting, mainly because we didn't want to do any AI. But we also then looked at it and said, what if we created a scenario where there's duality, where you have the same level, same game world, but it has two versions. And so your objective is to solve the puzzle of the game, but you're going to have to rely on your memory of both worlds in order to traverse it. So as you switch, the environment switches, right? So that's kind of just the core gameplay and idea that we went through, and we started iterating. We had a lot of great ideas, which we half made it into here. But it developed. So from a concept perspective, The Wall is a story about a soul that's trying to get over the wall. So the wall, you can look at it as almost a purgatory or a limbo or an in-between place. And this person, this of course is what it'll be if we develop it out. This is just 1 or 2 levels. But the idea behind it was that you're reconstituting pieces of yourself. And these are these, you've got the energy from both the, let's call it the light side, the dark side. We didn't want to make that difference. That's why it's orange and blue. Right? But from the light side, you're collecting the energy, but you need to switch between both worlds in order to traverse and collect it. And we wanted to make that switching very imperative, so what we did is, to get through, we put in pieces like, we put in charges of like the energy. You need to use those charges to open up the new areas. You get refills of the key mechanic here is that the charges that you need to open the doors in the orange world are found in the blue world, and vice versa. The doors if you need to open a door within the blue world, you'll need to search within the orange world to find the keys for that particular part, and vice versa when you switch. And another thing that we did is that you're able to create, we wanted to give the person the ability to play with that whole creation and destruction. So you're able to place objects when you're in the orange world, you're able to place an object. So if you can't reach a particular place, you can drop a block jump on it to access a different place. But if you reach a certain point where you can't, where a block is blocking you, you have to switch now to the blue world in order to destroy that block. So a bit of duality in that mechanic as well. Am I missing anything? Yes. All right. The flipping to the world, we didn't want it arbitrary, so we put in charges. So there's a limited number of times you can actually flip through. So there's a bit of a challenge in that perspective. If you run out, well, oops, it's going to do it. We did put a couple of drops, but it's not very, it's from playtesting. If you know the route, you're going to get through at least maybe 1 or 2 extra. If you don't, you're going to force yourself to play again. Want it to be a bit challenging. I think that covers majority of the mechanics. I like the game to speak for itself. Larry, anyone, what have we missed? Okay, Koi has been a play tester. He really should do speed runs. So here's a wall that you can't reach, and because it's in the blue area, and so I said that's a blue key. And now he'll have to switch to the dark world in order, as you can see, the environment has now changed as well. It's very choppy. And so he can't progress now, so he has to switch now to the brighter world to find the path that he can actually use. No, I was talking about. So this is the flow of someone who's played this game for quite a while. You can imagine it's not those leaps of faith you get over there. Yeah, it didn't come easy. Those purple things are the charges that you actually pick up. The yellow keys will open a yellow door, but you need to be... So the main idea of the game was, it's the wall is actually, we can pause it because it's...
The problem is the screen.
Yeah.
It's not jolting on the computer, it's jolting on the screen.
Yeah.
With the wireless.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So the idea of the game, and we didn't have enough time, but we actually built a second level, but it wasn't complete yet. We didn't complete the loop, but was if you go through the portals in the dark world, you go down the wall. If you go through portals in the light world, you go up the wall. But if you go up the wall, you'll end up with more dark keys because you're using your light keys. And if you go down the world, you'll end up with more light energy, light pieces of your soul, because you need those for the key. So it's kind of like a balance. Do you go back up, collect more, come drop down, that kind of thing. That's how we wanted to do. But we wanted the mechanic and the duality to be that thing of you've got these two worlds, which are on the same place. It's like two sides of the same place. But you need to flip between them on the fly, memorize where the platforms are, and kind of work your way through that puzzle moving through. Cool.
Team members, anyone with something to add? Okay, Larry? Okay, great. Thank you very much, Douglas.
Yeah, what have you used for making it? Which engine? Ah, unsurprising. Always. Always back again.
And allow me to kindly just put in something because you're talking about the engine. So as we're going through what was your experience, was a great thing. So one of our team members, this was the first time that they used Unreal. So we can keep an E-clap for them, and they had a very big role in making sure the game worked.
We gave them perfectly one job of loading our character and doing the animations. We let him bring the character because none of us are good at that.
And it's actually one of the things with the Global Game Jam, do something you've never done before.
Very nice game. Very surprised you went with Unreal. Mostly for platformers, people would have gone with Unity, but I'm a big fan of Unreal. Reminds me of a game called Hue. Have you played a game called Hue? I mentioned it to Andrew. The mechanic is exactly the same. Light, dark, actually different colors take you to different spectrums of the world kind of thing. So it's very interesting. I think for me, overall, it was well done, well executed as well. Yeah, yeah.
SEAL Team 6. Okay, so good job so far. Like, yeah, it looks good, definitely. And I think it also captured the whole duality aspect pretty well. I just thought that there was something that was not explained, which was, we could see at some point that there were some bricks or walls that kind of were disappearing at some point. It's like you could control them of sorts. So that wasn't, you didn't mention that.
All right, so I think what you're seeing, the disappearing part is that if you're in the light world, you could be standing on a platform and you switch to the dark world, it will disappear.
Oh, no, not that one. There was one at, I think in the light world, and then there was a brick that was in front of him, and then there was it's like he disappeared. It's.
The creation and the destruction, right? So in the light world, you can create this path that can destruct. If you saw it destroying the light world, that's a bug.
Ah, okay. Oh, so that's something that wasn't. It didn't explain. Yeah.
That duality as well, because ideally we want to give places where the standard thing, you push a crate to a crate, jump on it, jump to the next level, or if you meet a wall that's made up of crates, you can destroy it. Kind of move forward. So the duality between them, but I think there was a slight small part.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
I wanted to say about, you see, I wanted to say that that when the screen got darker, it was a bug. But then we still don't know what to do to fix it.
One last question. We have a category about this, but in terms of how you make it, monetize it, if you've got any thoughts on that, because we have academy tomorrow.
So just then I'll hand over to Barat to just give further. So I'll say probably this is the first time that the Nairobi Global Game Jam has a team that has designed a manual with their game. So our game has a manual, and one of the areas we're indicating in the manual is on commercialization, how we will be able to explore commercialization. So Barat, you.
A game like this, I would honestly put it on Steam, get it green lighted, and sell it for like $1 or $2. It'll obviously, like you're looking at what, maybe a 10-hour game, right? At most 10 hours of gameplay. We can iterate, flesh out the complexity of the puzzles, but put it down for us, Steam. It's just that personally, as a gamer, I do not like ads interrupting me. Though I know it is a revenue model, but on a short experience, just give someone a short, sweet experience they're going to share. And hey, we get, yeah.
So, what would you say is different from like what the game that you mentioned, Duo and Hue? Yeah, what would you say would be the difference, especially when if you compare it to other games?
Okay, as it's state right now, in its very prototype state, I wouldn't be surprised if it's more than just Hue that has the mechanic of switching. Well, Soul River had that, Legacy of Kain. You die, you switch over to the other world, new areas open up. So you actually use that mechanic. You'd go kill yourself to actually get around an obstacle. I'm not sure. So where we'd flesh it out, one thing we actually wanted to do, but it was just too complex to do, was to kind of see if you switch between the protagonist and the antagonist, like two antagonists. So you're actually using one to destroy pieces and one to build pieces, and you kind of choose who you want to win, and then build elements of the story around that. So that's something we could do to make that a lot different with the flipping. So you're like playing like a schizophrenic side of yourself.
Thanks so much. Team 6. So next up is Team Dash.
bot zinaanza kujibu. Hizi ni manini? Mabot. Okay, yeah, all right. Evening, everyone. This is Team Dash. My name is Alice Waire. I was part of the team, and my role was sound engineer and voiceover. I have one of my teammates is called Joseph Makonge. He was tasked with user interface. Then we have Kelvin Jenga, level designer, and Billy Gareth, programmer and storyteller. Our game was called, we named it Quantum Space.
So, okay, brief about the game. Quantum space in itself is a paradox because it's the small and big space in it, the words. Okay, sorry. So, let me just start with the game mechanics. I brush through that. We had quantified metrics. We had health for the player. We have points, the number of enemies within the space. We have a compass direction for the location of each, and a red spot for taking out one or two of them. So everything will be marked. The weaponry is limited in terms of it reloads after a couple of rounds once you've used it, and also there are only 3. The enemies are located in various traps within the tunnels. And also, a brush through the game. Okay, so quantum space, the year is 2090, and we are in an imaginary universe where a research, the human, attention please. So the human race had to relocate to a small universe, maybe Mars or something. You can just imagine whatever it is. So the main idea to go there was to go carry out a research in terms of prediction, things to do with computation, AI to predict things like the temperature that is needed for greenhouses on Earth, so that we are provided with the perfect shield to sustain the population. But then, after some time, the training occurred and a lot of steps were made by the AI. Their level of intelligence increased. And after that, they saw the need to eliminate humans because they were becoming powerful and autonomous on their own. So the thing that we build to satisfy our good is now against us as a bad. Duality as a theme comes in a picture of contrast, 2 opposite sides of a story, but existing in a coin. So this exists within the game. We are fighting against the robot. The action is shooting. We have tangible collisions, gun, and all those characters. We exist as humans with the first-person shooter. We have the states of crouching and shooting and all those, and also the actions I've already mentioned. So I'll try to give our gamer the time to carry out the gaming. You can watch the screen and see. So we used Unity engine.
The idea of having intelligence astonished us all. All our people in the first AI robot that did all of
Acha tu kwanza. Acha tu imalize kuna rate.
across the dome was welcome with open arms. But after a while, everything just shifted, and the robots began doing the exact opposite of what we had programmed them to. Now, human extinction is the mantra of the genes, but this ends today. We eliminate them from the source now.
So it's in a space-like environment. We have the AIs, we are giving them the ability to navigate, hide and seek each other. After you kill one, you have health spots around aligned for you to regain your health. We have spaceships on location and such like stuff, the things they use to land on the same. I think the frame of the computer is a bit sluggish. So as you can move outside, you'll be able to see far away. When you look up, you'll see planets. You can see there the rings, planet with rings. So you move into tunnels at strategic location. You see like this too in this environment, you are not able to pass through the doors. But the AI can open the doors themselves and not allow you in anymore. So it's more of an overtake, so we need to overturn everything. Okay. So that's like sorry. We had an African theme for the action, the sound, and I don't think the one that is right here has the exact things, because you can see even the frame rate is a bit low. So unaweza tuconnectia na hii tuweke like the real one.
So we'll open it up for the questions.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we don't have HDMI. Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Are you going to play the sound? Were you going to play the sound?
Yeah, play the sound.
Play the sound, okay.
Play the sound. Uja mute, ndio? Uja mute, so iko sawa. Sorry?
Is the mantra of the machines, but this ends today. We eliminate them from the source now.
So thank you so much for that. It's now over to you.
So I really like the soundtrack. The idea of the robots kind of getting a mind of their own, and now this is what I understood. Maybe you can help me. So the robots got a mind of their own, and now people.
You have to hide and then seek them so that you can destroy them.
I see.
Because that's the main purpose of the game, so that you can destroy them and eliminate them, so that you can get we can get a safer one.
Right. Very interesting. I really like the gameplay, the quick Doom style kind of gameplay. I really enjoy that. So, well done.
Yeah, I really like the planets, and that was very nice. Yeah, it was really very good space feel to it. As you see, you got the combination of the sort of mechanized space camp, but then the planets are there. It's very nice, visually very good. I like the visuals. I like the music, and the voiceover as well. Yeah, I'm glad to have played it because it didn't come out on the thing, but very nice. Yeah, thanks.
So I have two questions. So generally, I'd support what they have said, that it's pretty well executed, and it's pretty visually it's quite appealing. So two things is, what's the next step, and then there's a monetization part of the game. How are you going to sustain that game, to build it to whichever larger capacity there is, and how are you going to monetize?
Okay, so I forgot to mention on the monetization aspect. We have the game built for 3 environments. It's playable on Windows, on console, Xbox. I wish you could have tried it with the part that's there, but it's working. And also we have built for Android support. So we, in terms of monetization, with the whole of that population, we are able to give out ads where during the game, maybe only on online time, so that while they play, they can have certain privileges, like being given access to superior weapons for taking out robots like more efficiently, and also subscription on, let's say, a monthly basis. But this is usually maybe common with the professional gamers. It's a norm with them. So yeah, those are the ones that we thought of. And also there's buying of assets. You can do that when you're interested to just scale up and have more fun. So yeah. And the first question, what was it again? So we are going to have more of like numeral centers, because having AI in a capacity doesn't mean like you run only a single room for maybe the main server, but you have to have, in terms of scalability, you have to have several centers. So we need to have like several centers. You take out one, you move to the next until it's completed, then you get back on your spaceship. I don't think you saw it there, but there were 2 spaceships, green and yellow. Then you come back to planet Earth, and now you can have like the better life that you once had. Yeah, thank you.
Hello guys. So this is Team Raytech. I hope you have enjoyed the jam so far. So my game, as you guys know, the theme of the game jam is duality, and I took that concept and I decided, why don't I have 2 leaders? One supports dictatorship, the other one supports democracy, and have them battle between each other. Now, the story goes like this. So you've got the leader who's very how do we say this? Who's a believer in a lot of suppressing and dictatorship towards people. And now you've got on the other side the opposition, who has to rise who has to create an uprising to ensure that to stop the leader from making the country bad. So that's how I created the 2 concepts. So the engine I'm using is called Unity, and I am using a technology called HDRP, which stands for High Definition Render Pipeline, which ensures I've got good visuals. I also have a dynamic ending, which you can have 2 multiple endings, but for now they're just two because I didn't have enough time to create several scenarios. So I can show you what more else I created. So you've got the simple menu, and then for other PCs which may not be able to handle, I created graphics and resolutions. You can customize them however you like. And so I can just start with the story. So I decided to make cutscenes so that it can kind of like explain what the story is about, how the leader is bad, and just to show you how like you can kind of get to understand the player's point of view to ensure that you can kind of now be interested in the story. So I also offered a skip button to skip cutscenes. We spend a lot of time making cutscenes, but most players skip it. So I'm just going to skip it to show you like the core dynamics of the game. So I've got so far 3 levels. So the first one is the first level, which you can see here. And then the second and third level now depends on what decision you make in the game. Now is what determines how you will end the game. So there's a good ending, there's a bad ending. So whichever way you decide is up to you. So I can just show you how the mechanics work. So it's a first-person game. So you see through the eyes of the person. And the one thing that I did that I was surprised I could be able to do in a short time is make it true first person. So like if I point down, you can see the entire body, the full legs, and then I was also able to add dynamic weather. So this rain changes with time as you move through the game. So that's what I was super proud of to make. So I think I can play and show you the dynamics. I also have AI inbuilt, so the enemies that attack you will try shoot you down, try melee you down, and yeah, that's my game. So I hope you enjoy the gameplay. So here is where I was telling you about the dynamics. So the choices you make within the game determine how you end. Like for example, if I choose to let him take me to the leader, or if I choose to kill him and just go find the leader by myself, the story will be impactful to how you choose. For example, let's say I decide I want to make him help me find the leader. So let me just choose E, and then A. So it will load a different scene which will take you to another direction in the game besides the other one. So you'll have multiple endings depending on what you do in the game, how you play, it depends. So this is like the second level, I can say. So here's like the first ending. I didn't have a lot of time to make it a little bit more dynamic. So the first ending ends when the first ending ends like when you die, because he tricked you into making him feel like you're part of his team, but you're not. So that's the first ending. The second ending, I think I can show you through the second ending. Oops. I have 30 seconds. Okay, I don't know if I'll be able to play through the second ending, but basically I can just explain to you. The second ending is somehow now like you are alive, but now you end up killing the leader. So that's like the second ending. So this is my game. I'm waiting to hear what the judges have to say about it.
Yeah. Did you started this? You've not worked on this project before. You started this. Yeah. So I mean, it's in terms of what you've managed to put together with one-person team is quite a lot. I'm impressed with that. Yeah. So I like the visuals as well, and I'm struggling a little bit with how the story fits the theme. It's sort of just bad versus good, not quite the same as duality, but otherwise it's nice and impressive that you managed to do that with just one person. So thanks.
Yeah, I think the same as a one-man team. I think you've accomplished a lot in the last 2 days. Similar thoughts on the theme. I thought you could kind of drill down onto the theme a bit more here. But in terms of what you've managed to accomplish so far, I think very, very good.
Okay, I'm guessing time ran out. Yeah, because even the change of like the way the story is, it's not exactly as you had in mind before, but the execution is pretty good, and all this would have been tied down with the choices that you're making. So despite the fact that yes, it did conclude, yeah, the theme is now kind of lost. But the sound is there, the visuals are there, like you have a minimal viable product that's working. Yeah, but just what you always need to possibly consider always is what the theme is. It's good that you have also achieved several things on your own. You had some goals, and I think one of the members of SEAL Team 6 had mentioned that in a game jam, you're always up in your game, getting to learn something new, and you've mentioned several things that you did learn. So it's just to always remember there's a goal, and you always need to keep your compass north on that goal. If it's lost, you may have a really good thing, but it won't work out. But even then, I'm going to ask you on the sense of how did you want to monetize this game? Thanks.
So last but not least, Global Game Jam is always about visual games as well as technology games. So the last one is more on the board side of things.
Hi, my name is Mugendi. I am doing a puzzle, and a puzzle that that starts with the answers, but as perhaps you might tell, these are answers written in Braille format. So, guided by the theme of the jam, duality, and also finding some meaning with us above, so is below. I demo this game as down, so is across. This is a bug. But now this is the duality. This is the pre-filled puzzle. It's the Braille information. The Braille information in the answers would give a person living with disability the opportunity to interact with somebody who can see, and that somebody and that person who is visually normal could use that information, which could be deciphered and entered as a key through an online interface to be able to access educational content and also along the themes that do along the themes along environment, equality, and that. So I was looking at. And now this is how the game plays. The blind man will walk and allow me to narrate it in Swahili. Siku moja kipofu alisimamisha matatu akaingia nayo na gazeti. Wacha watu wastuke na huyu mtu mwenye anauza kitu yenye hawezi soma. Lakini wenye alisoma, hiyo ndio siku waliota kuni. Ukiangalia, if the phrase ukionyeshwa cha mtema kuni would mean, getting it rough. But now there's this contrast. There's this contrast where that person who has that interchange is able to perhaps experience free information in this, which could come in the form of a newspaper, it could come in the form of online content, it could come in the form of an online course, to be able to be, those are the benefits that it gets. The duality aspect is achieved by using this crossword as a way of these two people living in different states having to interact with it differently, and both get different results. But now it's real. It's a real game. I would like it to be used to change our behaviors, to perhaps change the paradigm that we have regarding people with disabilities, and even themselves can feel more equal in the society. So a typical business process for this situation is exhibited here, where this person with the answers exchanges those answers with the passenger, and it's at this point where now the story starts. There are a number of players who come in and within that process, either in the background or in the foreground, there is some exchange of physical goods and digital goods, and cumulatively we hope to see a product. I had labeled the green arrows to show the flow of money, the flow of M-Pesa money between the passenger and that blind person, and the exchange of newspaper. The rest are specifics between the goods that could move in the matatu to a store, the one that could move to a store to the passenger, and the one that could move from a partner to the person with disability to aid in all that. So I really think of this game as something that will change habits within the sector, and also help us be more streamlined. But on the flip side, I really hope we still enjoy that daily puzzle in the paper.
So are we saying the clues are the words in Braille? Or how does the crossword work? How is, you've got clues and you've got a crossword. How does this work? I'm a bit confused.
The questions would now be what would form the digital end of it, because it's that visually able person who is able to read. So if I want to know what the initials of National Council of People Living with Disabilities, I can't read this. I can know that if I'm blind, but if I offer this token to somebody who is visually able, maybe scan it or have a way, then that question would pop up through the means, either through web, through text, through VR interaction, to be able now to now know what this is.
Okay.
Follow-up question. So how does that lead? So you have a crossword and it's translated to Braille. How does that lead to the backside of what's going on the other side?
I hoped to use an existing game, modify the gameplay, and hopefully the gameplay solves some real-life problems such as logistics, and that's how it shifts to now the business model around it.
Okay. I think it would have been very interesting if you'd have been paired with someone with Unreal or Unity skills, so you can bring this out. I think it's a very interesting idea. And I think you could have built on it a bit more, but it's very interesting what you have. Yeah.
Okay, so a great idea on being able to bring the duality aspect of what, yes, people with ability and with people with disability, and trying to kind of merge the two worlds together in some state. So just to follow up with what Ben was asking, you mentioned about a token. What's the token in this case? Where do we...
A token would come as a form of reward, as a form of reward that is generated from the partner. A very interesting partner, even with the global game jam, who are offering coding knowledge through the game. Now, that token could be used, could be transferred, and now able to, and now perhaps developing the character further. It's something that could exist between the two worlds. This real character who is visually impaired can now get more than perhaps what the paper would have given. He or she can now learn coding or some science technology skill. He or she can learn Swahili, can learn French, basically along those lines.
Just a follow-up question. You said there was a behavior change. What's the behavior change you're looking for?
Right now, even without thinking, you can find places where people who are vulnerable are being. I mean, you ask yourself, So it's I would want to build this game to build a society that is conscious of people living with disabilities, among other vulnerabilities the society presents. So if it can make you be a friend to a blind, if a newspaper can make you be a friend to that blind person, that's the behavior change I'm looking forward to. If it can make you be more friendly, if your friendliness is able to facilitate some trade between you, I think it's a win-win on both ends.
So just to be clear, if I'm the blind man and you're the person who is visually seeing, so when I have the paper in Braille, and then I read to you the question. Are we together so far? I read for you the answers. And then where do you fill it in yourself?
Now that would now lead to a tech interface, say a phone. If it's a website, it's a promo code. Let's look at these answers as promo codes. Saidia Kipofu promo code.
So where did we, how are you accessing that? Yes, it's on a smartphone, but how are you accessing that? Is it an app? Is it a website?
More or less, I would really want it to develop into a VR where the blind man hands you some VR goggles and as well read out to you the braille answers. That way, the content around it, you can now access it in a more immersed environment. But
So when I tell you what the answer is, you key it in the VR world.
Let's assume, for example, the word that is needed right now, we only need one word, say duality. I will key it in to say to myself.
So when I read in Braille,
into this world of content that is specifically suited for this demographic of people.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks so much, everyone. I guess, again, thanks a lot to the team Chokman for the great presentation. So, and I guess a round of applause to all of you for the hard work. So we'll allow the judges to step out for a few minutes, have a few deliberations, and then they'll come and give us our comments. In the meantime, we can have a short break. Thank you.
All right, so we are back again as we are waiting for the judges to make their decision. It has been an amazing opportunity, an amazing moment for us to interact with the jammers for these past 48 hours. And it has been an amazing journey to see how developers can be able to express their feelings, emotions, create the stories, via the use of video games, which is really, really cool. And again, this year has, different diversity that the jammers, had to use so that they can express different expressions and by the use of different diversities, which is really, really amazing. So we have our Wangari, who is one of our jammer, and we want to have a short, brief highlights about how this game jam were, and the experience you had, and what you think the opportunity are, and maybe what can you be able to address the community about this year's Global Game Jam in Nairobi. Yeah.
Asante sana, and I have been part of the Team 6, and our game is The Wall. And it's a game, a puzzle platform game. And as the project team leader, I'm very excited because it's actually the first time that I've been a project leader for the video game development. I have more focused on board games, and this has been a very great, exciting opportunity. I've learned a lot from the rest of the team who had great expertise in this work. I think I'd say part of the reason why it's important and useful that the game jams are encouraged and continue on to be provided, and we are really glad that this year it could actually be a physical one, is because it's an opportunity to be able to grow the culture of gaming in the country. It's also a great opportunity to now be able to grow the concepts that are there. I mean, we've just seen a rich diversity of concepts that have been presented. And I think most of all is the third one, is growing the community. So I think that great opportunity of growing the culture, growing the concepts, and being able to grow the community, that comes especially as you're able to now bring the community together. Yes, whether it's on a virtual jamming or it's in physical. And I think that's just the really encouraging part, especially when you have sponsors and partners like Liquid Intelligent Technologies and other partners who just make this happen for Nairobi. I think that's something quite commendable. And I think that's just also where we would encourage other organizations and sponsors, because especially there's a lot of very young talent. This is a field with very young talent, and this young talent is able to do a lot of magic, even for the organizations that are out there. So it's a great opportunity for organizations to just come together or be able to organize their own jams and be able to see what can this young talent do for their brands, do for their visibility as organizations, and also just do different for the activations. Because the reality is this, that we have shifted as a world. And I think the global game jam plus other jams are just a great way to be able to utilize, the developments in the technology and in the digital world. Thank you.
So what do you think, how can we be able to improve the skills amongst the gaming community?
Okay. I believe that just the context of being able to have the community come together, that's a first. As I've indicated, this is the first time I have been a project leader for a video game development. And that came because the team then, invited me to handle that. So that means then that I in my role then I had to develop what is the work plan for video game development, be able to coordinate and check how the team is working, how far someone has worked, be able to now have everyone come together and we share like over lunchtime, it's time to bring our thoughts together, and the meals were great. I think that's really just the other thing about when you go for a game jam like this. The meals have been great just to keep the energies also up, and also the conversations. I think to keep the skills, bringing the community together. The other thing that I would also encourage, and our team was able to tap into that. We had a great opportunity because we are the Nairobi Garage. So one of the tenants at the Nairobi Garage is an advocate firm, Mark Mokuha. So Mark Mokuha actually spent lunchtime with our team, and he took us through intellectual property aspects because he's an intellectual property lawyer. And we met him at the Nairobi garage, or the team met him at the Nairobi garage. And he gave in 10 minutes of his time. Yeah, and he gave in 10 minutes of his time to the team to just explain to us the intellectual property aspects that are related to game development, the way when developing as a team, if we are to pass on this or to commercialize it, what are the things to consider? So those are now the resources that I would encourage. Please bring into the jams now persons who are in now professions such as Mark Mukuha, who are in intellectual property development, people who are in business development, because that's also that's an area where gamers, I could say, are struggling. How do you develop business models to commercialize and monetize your ideas and your work? Thank you.
And how do you encourage the online communities who are watching us live right now? What's your encouragement? A short, maybe brave?
Encouragement. So firstly, when you hear that there's a game jam and Liquid is involved, just know it's going to be great. But the number two thing is you cannot trade off the community that you get to interact with. That's extremely powerful, resourceful. Community means networks. Community means connections. And at the same time, community means you grow your context and your concept. Yes, many of the game game developers are, let's say, programmers, game devs, and they work in isolation. So this is a great opportunity for you to come and just be with others, get to learn what are they involved in, where is it the world shifting to. And the other thing I think that's also important, there are normally great prizes.
Normally great prizes.
Yes, there are normally great prizes around the game jam, which could even involve you flying out of the country to another place. That's my encouragement. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And we have some announcements to make as you're watching it live. So this year, Global Game Jam is announcing they're going to give the sponsorship for this underrepresented community who want to attend at the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco, Moscow. Now, the judges are back, and I'm going to hand it over to Douglas so that we can see the analysis and the games that have been made in the 48 hours. Douglas?
Thanks so much, Hussein. Cool. So thanks all for this evening. So just before I pass on to the judges, I'd like to say a big thank you to some of the mentors who were able to come through the weekend. So we have Dennis Mbodhia, Daniel Macharia, Kevin Omonga, and Hussein. So just a round of applause to some of the mentors who... So at this point, I'd like to invite Mr. Ben Roberts to announce the winners from today's Game Jam.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So we were just talking about the overall winners, and I think there's an offer for having all of the winners on the platform. So it's very good. We are very impressed this year. The judges were very happy. We have actually, with so many few teams presenting, I think we've got an award for everybody. Everybody is a winner. So first of all, the award for best individual effort is Raytech. The award for inclusion, best example of inclusion and digital inclusion, societal inclusion, is Chokeman. Closest to the theme, we loved the Team Neo from Mombasa, so they were the closest to the theme. The best sound and visuals, definitely to Team Dash. And the overall winner is Team 6. Congratulations, everyone.
Thanks so much, Ben. And I guess with that, no better way to bring Global Game Jam Nairobi to a close.